This video, I'll be talking about making smart bad guys. Throughout this video, I will be talking about intelligent adversaries, whether that's a monster or a creature or a person or a dragonborn or a lizard folk or whatever it is. I'm talking about intelligent creatures, things that aren't just animal instincts. So keep that in mind. All right, let me figure out how exactly I want to say this. The bad guys aren't stupid. Okay, look, maybe some bad guys are stupid, and at the beginning of a campaign, low level, then yeah, sure, there are people that just didn't have any other option, or they're just getting started, or what have you. But the stereotype, the trope of dumb enemies that don't have a plan and don't know what they're doing, I mean, it just gets boring. For anybody, for the players, but even, I don't know, I think if you take it from the character's point of view, it's the why are we doing this? And every fight is the same, and it just becomes about how long does it take to roll high enough numbers on your math rocks to deplete the hit points of the idiots that don't know what they're doing. If all of that sounds a little snide, I guess I'm sorry. It's the thing that I don't like dumb bad guys, and I think a lot of people don't like dumb bad guys. I do think that is a part of why some folks say they don't like combat in their D&D or Pathfinder or Shadowrun or the Star Wars games or whatever it is. It's this idea of not liking combat because it's just a game of when do the hit points go down fastest, because there's no point to what it is that's happening. What are some of the ways that you can avoid having your stereotypical dumb bad guys and instead craft enemies and adversaries that are a lot more interesting to have in the campaign? Something that I really try to remember, and I encourage you running a game to keep in mind, is that not every fight, and in fact, maybe not most fights, need to be to the death. Most things have a survival instinct, even animal instinct, that they don't want to die. If things are going really badly, or if from the very beginning they realize, oh no, I am way over my head with what it is, I picked a fight that I cannot win, most people, most creatures are gonna try to run away. They're going to try to save themselves at some point. And I think this avoids pointless and boring and sort of stereotypical dumb bad guy, I hit with stick type of fights. When you're bad guys, when the adversaries, when the group of brigands that is trying to ambush your team realizes it is not going their way, why do they keep fighting? Do they really think that they're going to win? Probably not. So, okay, what are their options? They can run away. Maybe you have one of the NPC bad guys that is a heroic last stand. They're going to hold the bridge while their friends all make their escape. Maybe they all work together to try to cripple one of the players and then they make their escape. Maybe they just give up. And then all of a sudden, as the person running the game, you have an interesting situation where the players have to decide what it is they're going to do. Are they going to try to teach them a lesson? Are they going to try to bring them into the authorities? Do you find out you have a group of murder hobos and you have to deal with that? Maybe they run away. Maybe they give up. Maybe one of them sacrifices themselves. All three of these things are options at your disposal, understanding that most things have a survival instinct. They don't want to die. And when they realize the fight is not going their way, what are the options available to them? Think about that. And it's not a bad thing to just have as an if-then tucked in the back of your head for almost every fight. And if you like the idea of if-then, check out our previous video here or here. It's maybe over there. Check out our previous video. All right, so now we have an idea of what an option is if the fight isn't going well once they're in it. But what about the things that your bad guys, your big bad guy, your big bad evil thing, or medium bad, evil thing can do before the fight? Well, as a GM, think like a player for a second. All of the stuff that's at the player's disposal is at the disposal of your smart bad guy. They can bribe people for information. They can use magic to spy on the party. They can hire security. There's a lot of things that are out there. They can do their own reconnaissance. They can set their own traps. Why would your big bad evil guy or medium bad evil person, whatever it is, why would your enemies just be sitting in an unlocked cabin with lots of weapons laying around for somebody who could sneak in, could pick them up, and then stab them in their sleep? There's tons of spells and items and potions that your players use. Why wouldn't the bad guys use those as well? Give your bad guys a couple of potions. All of a sudden, it's not just a war of attrition because they can heal themselves as well. Or maybe a magical item that they're able to use to escape or to change the layout of the battlefield. Maybe just having a bad guy that likes to, magically spy on the party. And so all of a sudden, they know what to expect. All of the planning that your players do, don't forget, your bad guys can do the same type of planning. There are things that the bad guys can do after the fight. There are things bad guys can do before the fight. What about during the fight as well? Your players spend a lot of their time during combat figuring out what's the next smartest move. Really, for the most part, players play pretty tactically. They have their list of spells and abilities, and they try to coordinate what it is that's going on. Sometimes maybe that ventures into the world of metagaming, hopefully not. Well, you as the DM, it's certainly more difficult because you've got a lot of the NPCs to think about, but your NPCs should think tactically as well. And remember, the bad guys live in the same world as the heroes of the party. So if there are clerics in your game and there is a stereotypical way or archetypal way, a general way that clerics look and comport themselves, the type of magic they use, well, your bad guys should understand what that looks like as well. So they might be able to gang up on the cleric quickly, plan ahead, use flanking, set traps, try to set an ambush. All of those sorts of things that can tip the battle in their favor. If wizards are typically less armored and a little more squishy, then why would your big barbarian rush in and allow themselves to get tangled up with two different fighters? Send that barbarian into a rage and she rushes right for the mage. All of a sudden, the glass cannon is taken out and it's not just a war of attrition, 2-on-1, two fighters against your big barbarian. Think about those types of things. If spells have range, well, maybe some of the spellcasters for your bad guys party can stand a lot further back. I bet your characters, the NPCs, the bad guys, also have abilities. Don't be afraid to use those types of things. Players are smart enough to try to disarm the bad guys or disable their equipment, do all that kind of stuff. Well, that outside the box type thinking, there's no reason not to use that with your bad guys. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about being a vindictive GM that's purposely trying to kill the party every step of the way. But I am talking about really making sure that you're giving the party a run for their money and setting them up with bad guys who are their equals, making things challenging so that fights really do feel like something that they have to pay attention to and that they're fighting against contemporaries, that they're fighting against bad guys or bad monsters or evil creatures or what have you that are on the same level as them. So before the fights happen, with reconnaissance and even understanding the party, your bad guys can be smart and do their homework. In the middle of the fight, they can set things up, use spells, use their abilities, move and think and attack tactically, and don't forget about items. And after the fight, maybe there's a sense of running away. Maybe they don't need to kill the party. Maybe they're just trying to capture them or something like that. And maybe it's the sort of thing where they understand the fight's not going their direction, and so they go for a different option. Keeping all of this in mind, you should be able to create some pretty compelling and interesting adversaries. Adversaries that are more than just sacks of hit points with one central focus and a big, sharp, shiny stick. And I think that you're going to find that that's a lot more fun for you to play as a GM, and a lot more interesting and fun for your players to fight against. Don't forget, bad guys aren't stupid. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please make sure to, give it a like and tag somebody, hop on your social media and share it. That would be really awesome of you. If you really liked this video and you love what Dawn and I do here at Roll for Initiative, then consider being one of our patrons. Our Patreon is a really great place to help us directly, and it's the most help that you can give us so that we can continue to make videos and content just for you. A big thanks to all of our patrons, and especially to Joan. If you want to support our channel, you can head over to our Patreon page and check out the different perks of being a patron. Hop over to our social media. We put videos out every week, but we also do a lot of other fun stuff, and that's the best way to stay on top of everything that we've got going on. So until next time, I'm Ryan, and this is Roll for Initiative. Bye. Da 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 da. Hey, I'm talking and getting ready. It's a vamp.